Well, I was Kathleen Farnham, born Kathleen Beatrice after relatives, always aunties or grandmas. And the second of 5 children of Dorothy and Philip Farnham. Both my parents were super, especially Daddy.
Where were you born?
Exeter, Devon, an old Roman city, ever so old, narrow streets, but beautiful, with a beautiful cathedral, which is up on the wall there. Lovely. And soon as the war came and we were bond, I remember my sister and I in the WVS, Women's Voluntary Service, with little white dresses. And I said, let's run out and see if the cathedral's still there after our raid, an unexpected raid. When actually the planes, German planes, always went over our home to Plymouth. I lived about 20 miles from Plymouth. We could always see the sky lit up. And my sister and I were sharing a bed. And I'll never forget this. If I lived to be 100, she woke me up for about so many nights. I was so tired because I had to leave school at 14, in depression. I tell my grandkids this. I don't tell them often. And go to work, 44-hour week, cycling to work. There was double-decker buses. I could have taken them, had a workman's special, but I loved cycling. All hilly, ever so like Pittsburgh that way. And I remember her saying, Kath, get up. Those planes, their engines are different, they're close. Next thing, a bomb dropped. Daddy was at work. Mummy said, quick kids, get up, go downstairs in the cupboard. With a little cupboard under the stairs. Mummy was tall. She couldn't get in. And my young sister, Muriel, screamed. So Barb and I covered our mouth because we were Joni all squashed in there with meters. In those days, you couldn't afford the working poor a phone bill well, we didn't have a phone, but an electricity bill or a gas bill. So you paid as you used it. So it was nothing for Mummy's cooking. Quick, the flame's going, the gas stove. Quick, put a penny in the meter. And all of a sudden, it's nighttime, we're talking like this. The lights would go out, no warning. Quick, girls, in the meter. It was the strangest world I grew up in, really, compared to here, and my grandchildren. I'm so happy that way. But anyway.
What did you do in the war, Nanny?
Oh, well, I volunteered. I said I was 17 and a half. I was 17 and 2 months. I wanted to be near my sister, who was conscripted. Americans don't know this. She was called up. And she had a terrible cough because she just had to go up and leave home, go up and go in a factory. And they painted the windows black, so she never had fresh air. So she had to come out up north, come home, and she was conscripted. All of a sudden, it was frightening in a way because she was still coughing. But anyway, I wanted to see her, so I joined the Air Force, Women's Auxiliary Air Force, WAF. And at first, I don't know if you ever remember seeing small blimps. I was put on that. But it was so heavy and hard. A lot of the girls were injured, ruptured. Oh, one died. When one broke loose in a coil, we break too fast. If you broke too fast, the coil would break and go around someone's legs and kill them. So one was. So luckily, an officer came in and asked all the girls under 21 to step forward. Of course we did, we were happy. And I was given I had a lower voice, not scratchy like this now, a stronger voice. And they also put you in a booth, and there was a plane calling up, large type, are you receiving me? and then he was shot. And he was going down and the plane was screaming, not him. I loathed it, but they said that my nerves were stayed the same, but they didn't inside.
So
And
you talked on a radio? Can you tell us
yes,
about how that happened?
I had a little desk in front and a black telephone, like that high, headphones, and I had a little set, a receiver, which we had to learn on a course. I think it was 8 weeks course. You had to learn to put special batteries in, which were very high frequency, so the Germans couldn't hear. We were taught the phonetical alphabet, to speak in code. You also had a big ledger. You had to write everything you heard. Well, at first it was hard to write, listen, and speak to a plane all at once. You can't dilly-dally, naturally. And I sent a squadron, 12 at a time, Spitfires. There's a picture on the wall. I'd like a photographer to take a picture if he could. That was a wonderful little plane. It was just actually finished just after the war. It saved us. I wouldn't be here now, the little Spitfire. It escorted the bombers. And during the Battle of Britain, which I think I was 15 then, I remember seeing pictures. We'd go to the movies just to see the news, but of course it was all censored. And I wanted to see them flying, but it was very hard sending 12 one at a time, but you did. You just had to do it. But it was difficult when I would try and stay on it, see if they would come back.
Can I get your statue down and have you hold it and you can tell us about it?
Oh yes, I would love to.
All right, so can you tell us a little bit about...
Yes, this is the wharf. My husband bought this little statue, and numbered. I was so proud. And this uniform was actually beautiful. Of course, wool in those days. This was smooth wool, but battle dress was rough wool. I see on the back, I can turn it sideways. There's my gas mask, which you carried. I, many's a time, took the stuff out, took the gas mask out and brought home anything I could scrounge for my parents, because food was almost non-existent. Our food in the war came in a baggie that you could put bread in. And I learned in the service, we had long tables to eat off of. And I asked for the bread to be, passed. I had manners in those days. You soon learned. They took a slice of bread, of course there was none left. So I soon learned to sit at the top of the table, and I was very innocent of complaining. Of course, when the officer of the day came around meal times, any complaints, I looked up and started to speak, and everybody froze. And I needed my bread. I was hungry, I was only young. The officer of the day looked at me. When did you join? Well, I said, this is my first week. Well, don't complain. Don't you know there's a war on? I heard that 1,000,000 times. I learned not to say it. But actually, I was proud to be in it. I was glad to serve. People were patriotic in those days. When you had to do either go in a factory, which I didn't want to. You had to leave home, go up north, because my country was beautiful, seaside, near the ocean. So I wanted to join the Air Force to be near my sister. They said maybe you would see her. I never hardly saw her, only on leave. She was a different era and a different, actually awful position in a way. May I say what she did? She was the one who wore rubber boots, rubber gauntlet gloves, rubber apron, actually everything rubber, but she should have wore a mask, I always thought. She went on the planes with an open galvanized bucket with acid in, and she had to squirt this acid into a plane's battery. And I always thought, because you could smell that acid, I always thought that was dangerous, and it proved to be after she got very sick. That was her job in the war. Oh, I'm glad I was in signals. Although we would work, 2 of us on a watch in fighter command, go on duty, cycle to our camp, because obviously camps were outside.
Do you want me to take that?
Yes. And I did my service work that way, in front of a little set, special crystals in high frequency. And I was proud of that, sending the planes up, hoping they'd come back, which a lot of them didn't. And I would stay on watch, sometimes 13 hours. Well, we did 14, a watch at a time. I fell asleep one time. I was disgraced. I couldn't help it. Can I tell you that story? I had an officer waking me up.
No.
And he woke me up and said, "You were asleep, it's a charge. Very serious." I froze. It was like 4 a.m. My headphones were on my shoulder. So he said, "I'll tell you a trick. You won't be on a charge." I thought, what does he want? What's he gonna do? He lit 2 cigarettes in his mouth. I nearly died. Oh, he said, "Do you smoke?" I said, "No." I didn't want to learn because my dad smoked. He was always coughing. Well, anyway, he lit these 2 cigarettes and said, "Now put this in your mouth." Of course, you can't answer back or speak. And I learned to smoke that way. It was horrible. Well, you have to inhale. And he said, "I'll show you my hands. They go brown. And your fingers will burn when you fall asleep. And that will keep you awake." And that was the truth. I never liked beer, but my son bought me dark beer. He said, "Mom, you're too skinny." And it was like poison. No, I like it.
So, Nanny, tell me about some of the things you've enjoyed throughout your life and what you still enjoy now.
Well, I've always, naturally, I enjoyed dating when I first started, like young during the war. And I met some marvelous servicemen. They were all servicemen that I knew, because you met them on trains or at a dance. I loved dancing. My eldest sister, who was tall and slim, could lead. I couldn't. I was sort of short and a bit dumpy. Never overweight, of course. But I loved dancing. I really did. And there were dances all over in the war, different camps, Army camps, Air Force camps, would like to have girls come in, so they would send big lorries, big trucks, and we'd jump up there and go off and dance. I loved that. But when the Americans came, we were amazed, because we had ballroom dancing, actually huge. I mean, when I think about it, large, big dance halls, shiny floors, 12-piece orchestras. But when the Americans came, they would just sit and stare at us. I thought, my, what's the matter with them? Why don't they get up and ask us to dance? They couldn't dance English, European way. You know, big steps, quick, quick, slow and all that. Every dance, every step was like even a tango. I had to teach my hunksman how to tango, because it was always the same. But we didn't mind, and we were told by our officers, we have to dance even if they're black. The Jamaicans would come, because they were part of our empire. That's how old I am. I remember I had no American history. I had no idea how large it was, what it was like. Mummy said, don't feel bad, they'll all speak English, they'll look like you. And they'll be different in a little way. Because I was supposed to come back with my husband on a troop ship. No such luck. Queen Mary, I was lucky.
Who did you marry?
An American, Maurice Frederick Short, a wonderful man in the American Army.
And when did you come to America?
I came to America in 1946, when the war ended. 4 months pregnant, Well, obviously my husband came home from abroad, and I was 4 months pregnant, and I said to Mummy, I can't go there on my own, I don't want to. I think I was 20, I was 20 then. Just about though 20. I didn't want to come here on my own. She said, you really can't stay home, dear. We don't have money to send you there. And there's not even a bedroom, because my sister was married and she had a baby, one in the Air Force. She had to get out.
Where in America did you come to?
New York City landed, and my in-laws and my husband lived with them. I'll tell you why in a moment, but I came to Brooklyn, New York. It was busy, and I remember seeing food in the shops. Tons of meats hanging up and cheeses. Boy, I thought, this is good food. Well, and I was very lucky and had lovely in-laws, 2 sisters, one a little bit who knew lots of things, but I won't go into that, but very nice. 2 years older, one 2 years younger, both lovely. I was very lucky. And I liked New York. You could go on a subway from Brooklyn. So I would go, and it was hot because he was born the end of August, and I didn't know it was so hot here. God, I nearly died. No air. Not even a fan in Nanny's house.
What kind of hobbies do you have,
Golly.
Nanny? What kind of things do you like to do?
Well, I didn't have hobbies when I was young because you worked all the time, though. But then I liked watercolors. Yeah, I like painting, I discovered. I had an auntie who was an artist, Aunt Nellie. I liked knitting. You learnt at 4. I knitted up a storm until I didn't even have to look. I would just knit. That's the way I can't now, I guess. But I love knitting. Sewing, not so much, because you had to do hand sewing. We weren't allowed to use a treadle, Mummy's treadle. But I was introduced to American friends by my mother-in-law, who was so kind. She said, you need some in your own age, because I was going around with them, Pop and Nanny. I came here 4 months pregnant, so I had my first son 5 months later in a New York, Brooklyn hospital, busy, shoved in a hallway, because they were after the war babies. And so I wanted a boy, and everyone in England said, we hope you have a happy, healthy son.
How many children do you have, Nanny?
I had the first one, he was 8 pounds. I had the second one 2.5 years later, 9 pounds. And then, unfortunately, I had a couple of miscarriages. They were too big. I was told not, because of my curvature. I couldn't wear my brace. I was told not to have any more, but they had to be very careful in those days how the Catholic doctor could tell you that. You just have to be careful not have any more. I was very sad, because I would have liked a daughter, a couple of daughters, but now I'm blessed with 7 grandchildren, and mostly girls, and then twin girls from my eldest granddaughter, Rachel, who you know. That was very exciting. And now I have, I think, in all about 11 great-grandchildren. So I'm very blessed there. And they sort of make you happy, very happy, because you can send them home. You know, when you're tired. But I think I've done very well in my curvature. No brace, I'm still getting around at 93. That makes me happy. And we've had a lovely home. We saved 5 years for $1,000 down. And it was funny, the city paid for our home in England. Beautiful home we had, but
when did you come to Pittsburgh?
Oh, I think about now, once I became many times to visit, because my son lived here and his wife, Gregory, and Kathy. But I think it was about maybe 10 years ago now, or 7. I can't really remember for sure, but I think it was. And then we lived in different apartments, my husband and I. Couldn't buy a home here. They were sort of quite expensive. But we liked living here. It took a bit of getting used to a big city. Although I come from a big city, but it's smaller in comparison because of old streets. But I like Pittsburgh. I think the people were very helpful. When I would ask away, some would volunteer to even take me. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Museums, I love the museums. And I really like Phipps Conservatory, all the flowers and plants. I'm going to the new one. There's a peacock there, made of wire and stuff. And there's a lot of interesting places to go to. I can't go so many now, but lucky we have a bus here that comes to Riverview. Did you know that?
I did.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's wonderful. You only pay about $3, something like that. Take you anywhere within reason, like food, banks, even a doctor's offices. That's an S&S and Access. Very convenient. I take those. I took one the other day.
Do you need a drink?
Yes, please. I like that place. I like to have buses come here. One of the reasons I live here. Makes a huge difference in your life. You're not a prisoner. Then I moved here to Riverview.
So tell us where you live.
Well, I live in Riverview Apartments. They're very central here. And I have a lovely apartment. I consider this my home now, of course it is. And I'm very fortunate to be here because actually everything's here. I have my own social worker. There's Catherine. I mean, it's super. How many people have their own social worker? And actually the staff has been just lovely, just very helpful. And there's...
What kind of things do you do? What else is here at Riverview?
Well, there's entertainment. Helene, you can go downstairs, do all sorts of things with her.
What kind of things do you do?
Well, I don't go down so much now, but you can go. There's games, there's coloring books, there's questions and answers. You name it, they have it. They even have movies here. Beautiful pictures.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go and see, I mean, bestsellers. They might be old, but they're interesting. And I even have help, as soon as I came here, to keep this place clean, because I couldn't bring a vacuum. I gave it away. I couldn't vacuum anymore because of my spine, being born with scoliosis and wearing a brace and all that stuff. Not now and so much. I'm going to one-sided now. So this is very convenient, and it's quite reasonable. And Karen, the girl who cleans thoroughly, will even do my wash. Yeah, it's really marvelous, I think. And I like living here. The people are lovely. I made friends. There's something about here. It's my home now. But actually, we're getting renovated, as you know. Oh my goodness. But I'm getting help. They'll come in, because Greg and Kathy, my son and his wife, were going to wrap that, and I was, with bubble wrap. There's people coming in to do it. You know, professionally. I think that's super.
So I heard there was a change in the food?
Oh, I've gained a little weight. I've actually gained 2.5 pounds.
Who's doing the food now?
Well, I'm not quite sure of the company.
The Jewish
I don't-
Association
yeah.
on Aging?
Oh.
Can you say the Jewish Association
Oh,
on Aging is doing
yeah.
the food?
Well, they are. I think they are doing the food.
Mhm.
The
Can you
Jewish,
say?
yeah, the Jewish. Wait a minute, Jewish on Aging.
Let's try again.
Jew-
Can you say the Jewish Association on Aging
Oh.
is providing the
Yeah.
food now?
The Jewish accounting, was it?
Jewish
Jewish
Association.
Association on Aging.
Yeah, let's try it one
Yeah.
more time without me.
Yeah, the Jewish. Oh, I can't. I don't think
It's
I
fine,
can.
Nanny.
Oh, I don't think I
Can
can.
you say the? How about you say the JAA?
That would be easier.
Okay,
The
so-
JAA is taking care of the food now, and it's wonderful because we have menus, 2 to choose from, and it's everything from soup to nuts. But it's super, very nourishing, and enjoyable now. And the staff who serves the food are pleasant. They're trained properly, I think. They're ever so accommodating. Jewish, I want to say that properly though.
Jewish Association on Aging.
Yeah, actually, they've been very good to me, because unfortunately I've fallen twice last year.
So you weren't feeling so well. So where did you go when you weren't feeling so well?
Well, I went to my doctor and they sent me right to the hospital because I had I think pneumonia and bronchitis together. And I was walking around, couldn't breathe, coughing, and I had to go to the hospital, which was pretty awful. But nearby, there's a lot of nice hospitals here. I think I've been in them all.
And where did you convalesce? Were you at Charles Morris?
Yeah, after I was in bed, I could hardly walk. I mean, it was shocking. I got up and I nearly fell. So I had to go to Charles Morris nearby, which actually was a wonderful place I didn't know existed. First I thought, oh, I'm lying in bed. What a comfortable bed and pillow. Next thing, I'm being said, someone came in, oh, you can't rest on your laurels, you have to get up. No, I said, I'm recuperating if you don't mind. But I had to get up. You had to walk or go in a wheelchair, which I did. And they trained me to walk again. It sounds almost impossible, but it was true. And I learned to walk again with a walker. Although I walked in here, I didn't even have a cane. I was very healthy, but I soon went downhill in a way.
So how do you spend your days now, Nanny?
Well, now, I love it when my son, he'll go food shopping, bring me all my food. When I see him, he'll come over. And then I'll see my grandchildren, including Rachel, the first one. I wanted a girl in the worst way, both my husband and I did. And I was obliged to have one. Oh, it was wonderful. She's marvelous. She's a nurse practitioner now with twins. They'll be 10 in August.
Do you still cook? Do you make baked beans on toast?
Maybe for lunch. That's the only cooking I do now.
What?
But I do cook salmon cakes. I love salmon. And my son bought me a big package of salmon cakes. I do, and I have a nice breakfast. Hard-boiled egg I have to eat. They told me in the hospital I wasn't eating enough proper food. I didn't realize. A sweet potato had the same vitamins as a banana. So Greg will buy me, I call him today for sweet potato. And I have about 2 or 3. I don't want too much. I've told her I can come back here and eat. I don't know how I could, because won't they be knocking out walls and stuff? Is that right, Catherine, that I can come back here to eat for lunches?
Not for lunch. For lunch, you'll be eating in the hospitality suite downstairs.
Oh, I see.
But there's a fridge and everything down there. So
Oh,
you'll be able to
oh,
eat
good.
down there for lunch.
Yeah, I won't exactly starve. So,
So, Nanny, do you have somebody come in and help you here? And do you get like any home health services? Does she get
Oh,
home
yes.
health from JA?
Occasionally.
She was before, she's not currently.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you had home health services from the JAA. Can you
Oh,
tell us
yes.
a little bit about
Oh,
that?
I had a wonderful nurse, Alex. He was the best. He would come and help dress my leg because I had an open sore on my ankle. But he had to go to Africa, so other nurses came. They were wonderful. Oh, they came for weeks. I mean, weeks. I don't know how many, but it seemed forever. They
And this
were
was-
wonderful.
This was after you were at Charles Morris?
Yeah, when I came home, they would see that I would have help. And I would have an aide too. In fact, she just left when you came. I have a lovely aide now that comes, Asia. She'll do a lot of the heavy work. In fact, she took out boxes of stuff from that armoire. And I do have a lot of help, which I really need now. I still want to be independent, which I am to a point. But you do have the wonderful help if you need it. They're wonderful here.
Excellent.
Yeah, I call up Catherine. She works hard for me too. And now there's good food, really, really lovely.
And what are you looking forward to about the renovations?
Oh, I'm really looking forward to them. Knocking out walls. I mean, it's a bit awkward emptying out all these drawers and things, but I did it with help. Did a lot on my own. I'm looking forward to the renovations because they'll be beautiful. We're even having a new fridge, a new stove, and a microwave. I have one. I've had it for a while, but we're going to have a new microwave. And walls are coming down. I mean, it's unbelievable. No carpets in here. They're coming up from wood floors, but a carpet in the bedroom. New windows, new shades. I mean, they're really going overboard, I would say, but lovely in a good way. It'll bring it up to, I think, par to the best apartments around. By the sound of it, I visualize it. We've seen photos. New kitchen cabinets. I've chosen the light and countertops. It'll be super. Well, actually,
So they gave you a little bit of a choice?
oh yes, you could have a dark or a light kitchen cabinet, and I wanted to have light, go all like nice countertops. Yes. Oh yeah, they gave us a choice.
So what would you recommend? Tell me how you feel about the JAA. Say something good about the JAA.
Oh, where I was, you mean it's who I stayed up there?
Well, this is all kind of becoming the JAA now.
Yeah.
So Charles Morris is right behind you when you
Oh, I
look out the
know.
window.
Yeah.
So tell me what's the best thing that has come out of you living at Riverview Towers and having the services at the JAA?
Oh, the JAA has been wonderful to me. And the staff especially, I know them. Some of them work down here now. I've been up there quite often to stay, to recuperate. And I mean, when you think of it, they taught me to walk again. And I was a little bit down, never depressed though. Because Mummy always said if you get depressed, you won't get out of it. But they help you mentally and especially physically. You must do their exercises, I found that out. But in a good way. Oh, I would recommend them. I mean, I wouldn't mind going up again if I have to, which I might have to, who knows. But it's, I highly recommend it, really, the JAA.